Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So why use Instagram? So basically, before you go to use a social media platform, you got to really have an idea why you're using it, because what can happen is people can use a social media platform and then be really excited and use it for a bit, and then they get bored with it, and then they fall off, which is understandable if you haven't really got like a goal or don't really know why you're doing it, apart from the fact that people are telling you to do it because it's the right thing to do. So here's some stats about Instagram, which I find eye-catching. Also, just before I'll mention that what I like about Instagram is, as you probably know, if you have a Facebook page, which I think most of you have, the reach of Facebook pages is crap, basically. So if you have, say, 1,000 followers, only say 50 people or 100 people will see the post. So it used to be, when Facebook started, if you had 1,000 followers, probably about 800 people saw the post. But now, because the platform is so crowded, it's now, it only shows the post to a limited amount of people. I mean, some cynics would say also it makes it, it's advantageous to Facebook, because people will then pay for adverts to reach more people. But I couldn't possibly comment on that. So 6% of Instagram users, so they say they learn about products and services through Instagram, and 75%, so they take actions like visiting your online store, searching, or telling a friend about your product or service after seeing an Instagram post. So people do take more notice of Instagram posts. If you want to embed yourself in people's minds, then Instagram is a good way of doing it. Also, in terms of branding, there's basically, in branding, there's a term called brand recall. So when companies run ads on the TV, they ask a surveyed people after the ads run, they ask them, do you remember this ad? And the more people who remember the ad, the better the campaign and the more brand awareness. And Instagram recall of brands was 2.8 times higher than TV or radio. So I think because it's quite a personal, if you use it, you'll know what I mean. It's quite a personal platform. It does have more impact than, say, just on the TV or on the radio, where it tends to be more impersonal and more general. Now, in terms of getting the most out of Instagram, one thing I recommend is, I think it's probably the case for people in the room, but it's good to have a business account for Instagram, not a personal account, if you want to use it for your business. The main reason you want a business account is because it gives you stats. It tells you, how your posts are doing, how many followers you're getting, how many people are clicking the buttons on your profile, so they can then optimize. And the second reason is you can link Instagram to Facebook. So then you can post on Instagram and Facebook at the same time. And also you can post, they both interact with each other. Now, when you're on Instagram, what you want to do is, once you've got your account, is look around and find people you want to follow. Find accounts that, it could be potential customers or current customers, and then, comment on their posts. And it's not just about posting things yourself, it's also about posting on other people's posts as well, and commenting on other people's posts, like showing an interest. It's like on Instagram, you have to be interested and interesting to the when you post, but interested when you're commenting on people's posts. Now, on Instagram, as you might have noticed, if you've got Instagram, you're only allowed one post, sorry, one link, like your profile. This is the desktop, but it's still the same. You'll notice that in the post itself, you're not allowed to have a, if you put a post, it won't be live. It'll just be a dead link. Whereas in Facebook, you are at least allowed to put posts, to put links into your posts. So this link on Instagram is very important, because this is a way of actually people clicking through to your website or to your Facebook page or whatever you know is an asset of yours. So I use this tool here called Linktree, which I think some of the guys use. I know Andrew uses Linktree. Yeah, well done. And with Linktree, you can actually put lots of links on one link. So you've got your website on there, but also you can book a free one-to-one on Zoom and read my Google reviews, etc. So you've got all your links in one place. So even though you're limited on links, you can make that link work for you and make it, more, make it, yeah. Basically, it takes away the disadvantage of not being able to leave a link in the post, essentially. Also, these things here are worth having as well. They're story highlights. So when you build your Instagram profile, you can create these highlights, which are made up of stories, basically, and you can customize them using. I use, for example, these images here. I got from Canva, and they're optimized for the right size for these highlights. But basically, you can organize different subjects with these highlights. So like blog posts, tips, videos. I need to do more on that, more of those. But it looks more. I think it looks quite professional, and it makes the profile look a bit more organized as well when you have an Instagram account. And if you look at the big players, they all have these story highlights where people can just click on different subjects to do with their business or their brand. So say, for example, you sold like widget, sold like furniture. You can have a story highlight. The person clicks it, and it goes to all the furniture you sell, like photographs or stories, which were stories of your photos. I've used it for hotels, where you can click and look at rooms for a hotel using these story highlights. So they're pretty good if you have a business to use these. Also with the bio, one tip I would say is keep it short, because a bio is very important with Instagram, because usually instead of having a link in the post, you would say click the link in the bio or look at my bio. So really you want to keep it short and sweet. Basically, a rule of thumb, if you're not sure what to put in your profile, is you say I help get more blank, and I'll give that again, sorry. So yes, I help people get blank, or I help businesses get, like for example here, I help businesses get more leads and sales using Facebook advertising, management and training. So just tell people what service you provide, but keep it simple. keep it succinct. So, just tell people what problem you're trying to solve in the profile. And use emojis. I mean, some people use loads of emojis, which is fine actually, because Instagram is a place where it's fine to use lots of emojis because it's more, laid back. Like you wouldn't use loads of emojis in LinkedIn, for example, but with Instagram, it's fine. Also, a good feature of Instagram is hashtags. Hashtags, I think, are one of the best things about Instagram because it helps you reach out to a lot more people and reach out to people who don't necessarily follow your profile. Because if, for example, you do a post which is about, say Bournemouth, for example, not only will people who follow that hashtag will also see your post as well. Or if you hashtag something like what have I used recently? Say it was something like say social media or Facebook advertising. Then if I do hashtag Facebook advertising, then not only will people who follow my page see the post, but also people who follow the hashtag Facebook advertising. Because on Instagram you can follow hashtags, not just posts on pages. So that's highly recommended. And that's the beauty, as I mentioned before, with Facebook, you are limited to how many people see your posts, but with Instagram, the hashtags open it up quite wide. So, Emily, I know, uses like dance and ballet type hashtags. So people who not only follow, who don't follow her page will still see her posts. And also they might follow her page after seeing the post because they're following a hashtag, if that makes sense. Also, Emily could also follow a hashtag and then comment on a post and then get that person interested in her because that person might be interested in dance. So it's a good way of getting followers rather than on Facebook. You can't really communicate with anyone really apart from using your personal profile, but with your business profile on Instagram, you can communicate to anyone and ask them to follow you. Another tip as well is to be consistent with your posts, which is not always easy. And I've seen people post about 10 times in one day and then nothing for ages, which doesn't really work. That's probably just as bad as posting kind of once every 6 months. So you have to keep it consistent. You have to kind of keep it going. It's like anything. Repetition seems to work in advertising and marketing. It's a core principle of it. Doesn't mean you have to post the same thing all the time, but if you just keep being out there and people seeing you, you'll be surprised at the effect that has. So if you can discipline yourself to just post on there once a day, then you will get results from it. Also, if you comment on other people's posts as well, you'll find an upturn as well in how on how your Instagram performs. And I think that's pretty much it, really. I mean, in terms of what to post, that's sometimes a bit of a challenge. I would say if you're not, one tool you can use is Canva, which has quite a few images, and you can customize. You can find images on there, customize them, and put them on Instagram. You can, and also with Canva, it's the size is already optimized. It's already the right size. You can get it to give you make it the correct dimensions for Instagram without having to kind of crop the photograph or crop the image, which is very handy. Also, just document your day is another way of doing it. You know, what you're up to that day. I mean, I always remember the post that Peter did of his cup of coffee. I mean, it wasn't on Instagram, but Peter posted a cup of coffee, and I still remember that post for about 3 years later. I don't know, but it was nice and simple. It was I think it was Peter having his first cup of coffee in the morning. I mean, it could be something like that. It doesn't have to be anything kind of, well, you know, earth-shattering. But if you stay consistent, find something to post about. You know, maybe a client gave you a good review. Take a screenshot of that review and put it on Facebook. Well, put it on Facebook, yes, and Instagram. You know, anything interesting. Everyone's got interesting lives. They're not as boring as you think. There's lots of, you know, people have things, you know, good things happen every day. And if you actually post about things that are good every day, you'd be surprised how many good things happen to you every day. So I think I've covered what I'm going to cover today. Any questions from anyone?
Can you plan, can you plan your posts like you can on Facebook, on Insta?
Yeah. If you use the Creator Studio, which you can access through Facebook.
Okay.
If you go to your Facebook profile.
Yeah.
And you should have Creator Studio there. Click on that. And then here you see the Instagram icon. Click that.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose whether you want to post on Instagram or IGTV, which is the Instagram.
I stopped to share. If you're sharing, I stopped to share because I thought you finished
Oh,
sharing.
sorry. Okay. Yeah. So basically, if you go into Creator Studio,
yeah,
you can schedule posts from there.
Lovely. Thanks, Mike.
And you can also choose to post. The same post can go onto Facebook and Instagram if you want to save time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Creator Studio, there's lots of things you can do with that. You can post stories as well.
Lovely.
Mike, Mike,
yeah,
I've got a question, if I may. Well, it's not so much a question about Instagram, but I just picked up on something you said about the limited reach of Facebook and how you can have 1,000 followers and maybe it only goes out to 50 people. So presumably what you're saying is that it's a percentage of your followers. I say this because my wife is, she puts on posts on Facebook for her charity that she's part of, and she shows me the stats, and she gets phenomenal responses on Facebook, over 13,000 within about 6 hours.
Wow.
You know, which is, and I don't know how many followers they've got. She's one of the 6 trustees of Hope for Food, which is a charity in Bournemouth that feeds the homeless. And she does most of the social media. And she said, oh, look at this one. This was a good one. I did this one on Wednesday, like 7,500 views and likes. So how is it that she gets all those likes and yet most people only get a few? Is it, she must have, what, are you saying she's got like 250,000 followers or something?
No, I mean it's not. It's certainly true that some Facebook pages do get more engagement.
But she does it every day, pretty much.
Yeah.
And more than once a day sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that does help. That does help if you post consistently, you get more engagement. I mean, also
she gets lots of shares.
Yeah, but it tends to be the exception rather than the rule. I think if you did a survey of business owners who have Facebook pages, most of them would say that a very small percentage of their actual followers see the pages and see the posts.
And I think
it's not. Yeah, but it's true that some do well, and it's some subjects do sometimes tend to be more engaging than others. And Facebook, I think the Facebook algorithm does also prefer some, makes it easier for some pages than others.
Right. I think it's largely because of, well, it's a charity.